Hey, everybody. Kevin here with Pursuing Pixels, and welcome back to another edition of Save It for the Cast. And as always, as per usual, I'm going to get started here with a few video games that I've been playing lately, although I'm going to keep it short and sweet. And I will say, fair warning up front, Randall, John, and I in the chit-chat that we'll get to in just a little bit definitely lean into the sports and basketball talk, and it's a little bit belated. We're talking about like March Madness stuff and just various stuff that when I took my recent trip back home to Michigan, just like was kind of plugged into watching some random sports stuff, so we just went on a little bit of a tangent before we got recording a few weeks back, and it was a fun basketball conversation, and for once I was able to kind of chime in on the sports chat. So yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit, but fair warning, I guess, up front, if that's not your bag, it's definitely going to be a little heavy on the sports chat this week, but we get into all sorts of stuff. But with that said, I did want to lead off with a few of the games that I've been playing lately, and one game that I've been playing that I have talked about on the podcast before, and that I've only chipped away at just like a tiny bit because it just came out of early access. And I know believe I've said on the podcast before that I don't typically dive into early access stuff all that often, but I was just so like the game is called Revita, and again, it just came out on Switch and also just came out of early access. I'm still playing on PC, but yeah, I was really enjoying it. And it actually, like, again, I don't dig into early access stuff that much, and I was really enjoying it, but it clearly like had like there's more levels coming soon. So after like this, it was either the second or third stage, and it's kind of like a twin stick shooter platformer roguelike. And I really love the main kind of conceit of the game is you're basically like this kid and you have your like health, and you kind of have like almost like a Hollow Knight mechanic that like after you fill up this certain meter, if you fill it up all the way, like both two bars or two chunks of the bar, you can refill like a full health point. Obviously you can refill half a hit point with half health, and then I think the other like twist to that is like if you already have full health and you have both full bars, you're able to then like hold down the focus or whatever and create a whole nother like health container or heart container or whatever. And then the reason you want to or you need to keep doing that in a lot of cases is because the health is the currency for pretty much everything. There is like kind of like some other currencies that are more for like the roguelike progression or the roguelite progression, if you will, like to unlock new relics or buffs or different parts, just different abilities, different like parts of like the main hub area. I'm still kind of exploring that, so I don't know 100% what's in store. But as you progress through each stage, there'll be like a shrine or a statue that you can like kind of choose. Like, okay, do I want to offer up one heart? And it's not a heart container that you're giving up, but you're just giving up like a one health point or whatever. And you can do, you know, it depends on how many hearts you have at that given moment. But like if I have 4 hearts, I can sacrifice 3 hearts. And obviously the more hearts I sacrifice, the better upgrade I'm going to get. You get to see what upgrade that's going to be. But the hearts are used for everything. So opening a chest might cost like half a heart. Or you might get like a relic that like reduces the cost of hearts that things will cost. But then like even between stages, you get like some options where you can like upgrade your relics or upgrade certain stats or certain things that you have. Statistics. I guess it's probably just the relics. But like even that, when you get to the blacksmith, like that costs hearts on the middle of your run. So like it's just, I'm really loving the game. I think I said that before when I talked about it on the podcast, or at least I know I made a video for it if I haven't mentioned it on the podcast, but it's just got really stunning, like really vibrant pixel art, really cool enemies, tons of accessibility, like settings and options, and even just like customization options, even if it's not so much like, even just for, you know, just preference type stuff, I guess. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And I know sometimes like playing these twin stick platformers, if you will, with a gamepad, because I'm just terrible. It definitely seems like it would play ideally with mouse and keyboard, but being someone who really can't manage controlling action on the keyboard and the mouse at the same time, it's just really nice. It feels really fluid to play with the gamepad, and there's just so many different buffs, so many, the world building in particular, like in the main like hub area, is just so cool. Like the voice acting of the characters you find and rescue, and then, you know, offer you up different upgrades for future runs. Again, I don't want to really get too into it because it's like it's kind of has a little bit of that feeling that I used to get when like DJ and our buddy Glenn and I were all playing Enter the Gungeon at the same time, and we were like, you know, discussing the new secrets we found or the new, like, you know, I think we looked up a few things online, but mostly it was just like, you know, it took me back to like playing games on the playground and talking like secrets in elementary school on like about NES and Super Nintendo games. So just super cool. And I guess a couple other kind of roguelike inspired games, or one's definitely a roguelike or roguelite as well, that I've been playing. I've been playing a lot of Going Under, And Going Under, I've actually been playing on the Switch. I picked it up quite a while ago. It's been sitting on my Switch forever. I must have snagged it on sale at some point. And I did play a little bit of it on Xbox Game Pass a while back, but I was like, oh, I want to make sure I like save my progress and whatever. So I started playing on Switch finally, and I really like how the game is broken up. Like it's another top-down, or I shouldn't say another. It is like kind of like a top-down or isometric, although it's more almost like a 3D, but for lack of a better term, it's like a top-down isometric dungeon crawler, but with like a really vibrant, poppy, like low poly, just like really pop art, vibrant style. I know I just kind of repeated myself there a few times, but yeah, it's just got like a really zany, like over the top, and that goes into the writing. This game just has such a great energy to it both in like a humor sense. Like it's not very often that I'm like reading the dialogue in a game and cracking up left and right, let alone in a roguelike where there's not really a ton of opportunities for that. But the way this game is paced out is so great, and it's not like one long run. There's actually like a few different, like right now I have 2 different areas unlocked. So like there's kind of like, okay, the first dungeon is this Joblin area, and you're like kind of working at like a tech startup company, and you're like, wait, I thought I was the intern, but they just keep sending you to the basement to take care of all the goblins. Like, I didn't sign up for this. They're just killing demons. So it's just like, it's super funny. There's a bunch of different like characters that like work for the startup that you can use, like equip as like your mentor, that give you like different buffs or perks for any given run, or and then the main conceit of the game is like beyond whatever buffs or whatever upgrades or whatever you have, you're really just running in. You kind of go into every run empty-handed, and you can pick up virtually anything. So like if you're familiar with maybe a game which I guess isn't the most popular game, but a game Blood Roots that came out a while back, it's got like a similar mechanics to that, where you're just like picking up. That's another game that we need to talk about. John and I have said a few times, like we gotta talk about and play some Blood Roots, which is a really cool game. But this is more of a roguelike than Blood Roots is. That's more like arcade scripted levels or whatever, or pre-planned or designed levels. But yeah, I really like the feeling of this one. Like it just feels great to like go in, and you're kind of like at the mercy of like, okay, sometimes you have some great weapons, or you have like kind of like a sword or a spear or almost like a crossbow or a slingshot or something. But sometimes you have like, you're just smashing laptops on people, or throwing desktop monitors, or grabbing like a pogo stick that you can bounce around with. But it's just so cool. Like, I don't know, just the tone and energy of the game is just so, I don't know. It just puts me in a great mood every time I play it. And it's like, I don't know, some roguelikes that I play have like a little, like suffer from like maybe biting off a little more than they can chew, or like a run might be a little too long, where it's like I might want to save the progress midway. Even Revita a little bit, as much as I love it. And you can save the progress midway, but you're just kind of like, okay, the second zone, okay, the third zone. Like how many zones are there in this game? I don't really know. It's kind of nice how Going Under is split up, and you just go one dungeon, second, like it's just one dungeon is like kind of, here's the easy dungeon. Here's like, they're basically broken up into different levels, essentially, that are independent of one another. And I really think that's a cool structure. And then the other game that I've been playing, which I'll just give a quick shout out to, is a game called Tanuki Sunset. And it's not a roguelike per se, but it definitely randomly generates the stage or the level each time. Even each time you like die or like fall off a checkpoint, you're clearly starting from the same checkpoint, but the level is clearly not the same. And this is basically like a longboarding, skateboarding, racing game. Like it's got that kind of arcade, like behind the, I was gonna say behind the car, but behind the skateboard in this case, like camera view. It kind of reminds me of this game that I think it was a Namco Bandai game that I used to play at Dave and Buster's all the time, where you like actually stand on the skateboard and you like go up the vert ramps. It had like really clunky, impossible to decipher controls, especially being that you only got to play it like once a year at the arcade or whatever, however often I played it. But I still would always be like drawn to that game for whatever reason. And yeah, Tanuki Sunset is more of like a racing game, or like, Mario Kart style feel to it, but you're not necessarily racing anybody. You're just going for like best times, and there are like cars like Toad's Turnpike style almost on the track, and the track's just kind of like suspended in air, kind of like almost like a Rainbow Road style track or whatever. And you can do some basic like kickflip tricks or grabs or whatever. And I didn't even mention that you're actually a raccoon on this skateboard, which really makes no sense. But I guess other than the name, Tanuki Sunset. But the game just has such a good, like, back to the vibes and like energy. It just has so much charm, so much, like the music's great on all of these games for that matter. But yeah, the music's just fantastic. I really kind of stand out. It kind of works like Ali World does, where it's like almost like a jukebox. I don't know if you can cycle through the tracks at will, but still it just kind of of like plays whatever track, and there's like all sorts of vibes, but it always seems to work. Like there's some songs that have like kind of that electro swing vibe, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if this fits the level, and then all of a sudden you're just like, yeah, I'm getting in the zone, and then it's got like lo-fi, new wave stuff. It's just really, really cool game. It's a blast, and it's just so silly and so fun. Like, I don't know, just the little cutscenes, like your mom's like calling you on the phone when you go back to the skate shop, telling you to wear a helmet. Like, just such a cool game, and I really can't recommend it enough. It's a really, really fun one that I've been having a blast with. It's been kind of like my go-to. Like, I got a podcast on in the background, and I'm just gonna, hit a few more checkpoints. And it's like each stage is kind of like broken up into like 3 long. Like, I think you can kind of just keep going. Like, it almost reminds me a little bit of Sayonara Wild Hearts. That's maybe a little bit too generous of a comparison because that's one of my favorite games ever. But Tanuki Sunset's just a ton of fun, and I really, really recommend checking it out. And all of these games, for that matter. I've just been kind of bouncing around, getting back in the groove, and playing and enjoying a ton of games lately. So yeah, I figured I'd get a little heavier on the games talk on the front of this episode here, since like I said before, Randall, John, and I get into the basketball talk pretty heavy this week. So without further ado, I think I will toss it over to that, and we will catch you all next week. And until then, take care. Are you Okay, no, John just moved his head. I was like, are you frozen over there? You froze a little bit earlier, so I was wondering if you...
I'm trying to find... this has got to be it is a Bucks all-time scoring list that Giannis just took over Kareem.
Really?
The highest scoring.
Ooh. Holy shit.
Bucks player of all time.
That's actually really impressive, because
that's crazy.
Yeah, Giannis is... What, this is year 7 or 8, I think? Maybe not even?
How old is he? I don't know.
He's like 27 or 28, I want to say. Right?
Oh my God. He's 27.
Yeah.
He's 27.
You know what? And I think he just turned 27. I think when he won the championship, he was 26.
December 6th, 1994.
Oh,
damn,
he's younger than my brother.
Oh my God. I cannot.
But I still remember being like, I'll feel old when I'm older than athletes, and now it's just,
we're all past that point.
I'm retirement age, man.
God, like I keep, it's like, I feel like hockey has some weird outliers. It can be super old, but like it's also a ton of just like 18-year-olds.
Oh yeah,
yes.
It's at least with like. Oh God, it is mostly like 20 to like 30 as your prime for basketball, and then God,
yeah. Yes. I'm kind of itching to watch some basketball, or even just sports in general, because I caught a little March Madness.
Oh, March Madness has been sick.
It's been awesome.
It's like both sides. The women's side has been.
I was
sick
just gonna
too.
say I caught that double overtime game.
Oh my
the
God,
UConn NC State game that was so good,
insane,
so good. And then they're like, UConn, this is their 14th straight Final Four appearance. I'm like,
unbelievable.
What the fuck? How do you dominate that? I know when you're that dominant of a school, you can obviously recruit the best players in the country, but still, man. 14 years in a row, that's still pretty fucking crazy. They're not. There's tons of good schools that get good players. That's crazy.
That is. It's unprecedented. That's nuts.
Yeah, yeah. And it's weird. I somehow I'm normally like a root for the underdog kind of guy, but I'm just like, UConn, let's fucking go. Rack them up. I don't know what it is about,
Paige Bruckers.
Teams. Yeah.
Lights out shooter.
She was killing it.
Unbelievable.
No, yeah, she's gonna be unbelievable when she makes it to the WNBA.
The coach. They were saying the coach was saying she was like the next Diana Taurasi.
Yeah, she's
which
gonna
is
be a nightmare.
no joke.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that was. Oh God, the WNBA finals last year was so good. Oh God!
Chicago wasn't in it, were they?
Yeah, Chicago won.
Oh, they were. I was gonna say I kind of remember. Oh, they won.
Yeah, it was.
Candace Parker, baby.
Oh God, it was such a good It was such a good series.
Diana
Taurasi was a nightmare. Oh God, I love the fear of God. Just every time.
Yeah.
Oh, love it.
Is it just me, or is like, because to me, women's basketball, at least the few games I watch, it feels like it's a little bit faster paced for whatever reason. Like, I feel like there's more fast breaks. Is there like a shorter shot clock or anything like that, or is it?
I know there's like slightly game in general also, so like they're playing for less time,
and they play quarters instead of halves as well. I noticed that as well.
Yeah, in the collegiate.
Oh, you talk about collegiate.
At least in college. Yeah, in college.
Yeah, they do.
Actually, yeah.
Although in
I
college,
was just like,
Louisville is a fucking monster. We've been like Tina and I have been watching a lot of the March Madness highlights on both sides, and like Louisville would not surprise me if Louisville won the whole thing on the women's side because their defense is just insane, and they've got some ballers over there too.
Yeah. I was just like, man, the game felt so action packed. Where sometimes, like, especially towards the end of like when you're watching like an NBA game with all the fouls and timeouts, like I was like, man, this game is like not really losing steam and momentum. And maybe it was just like the energy of the crowd or whatever. But I was like, I don't know. I never felt like I was like, come on, like let's keep the game going. Like I was just like sucked up into the moment or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Great game.
How long is the shot clock in college?
Like 30 seconds, somewhere like
that.
I
I thought it might even be 35.
Like, honestly, like I have a difficult time watching college basketball. Like, I think it's super slow, and like the 3-point shot percentage is kind of unbearable sometimes for me.
Yeah.
So, like, I think like, when you can have an entire minute elapse and it would be like 2 possessions, and I'm like, that takes a lot. Like, if you're running the shot clock out every time, then like an entire game could just be 24 possession or entire quarter or whatever.
We're in the thick of it now, though. There's this. We're down to brass tacks on both sides. So
Final Four, right? Both sides.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who's in it?
It's Villanova on the men's side. It's like Villanova,
Kansas, I think.
They might still be there. Yeah.
I can't remember either. Villanova beat
Duke is
Kansas.
still in.
Yeah, Duke's still in. Is North Carolina still in as well?
Yes, Duke and North Carolina are actually playing each other.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Which is natural rivalry. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's
Coach K's last year.
I want Coach K to get crushed.
Oh, come on. What's wrong with Coach K?
Yeah, no, he sucks so bad.
Is he? I don't know really anything about him, but
I don't know much of his history either.
No, he's just a real fucking piece of work, and I hope he dies.
Oh, come on, Coach K, let him win one before he dies.
No, I want him to get embarrassed on the national stage.
Yeah,
not sure that's going to happen with a team full of future NBA players.
Yeah, it is crazy. Like they're just like, even I was watching because right after one of the college games I watched, they went to like the McDonald's high school like all-star game or whatever it is. And it's just like, and every player's like, oh, this is where they're signed on to play it next year at college. This is where they're playing in college. It's like crazy, man. But
they've been recruited since middle school. Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild, man. Can you imagine being that fucking good at a sport? Like,
no.
My brother's almost on that level. You know what I mean? He played like
baseball,
semi-pro, or not even semi-pro, pro. Whatever. I guess it's semi-pro, whatever you call it. Yeah. But either way, it's like, it's crazy to be on like that cusp where it's like pretty much just like, oh man, the difference of like, I either got picked or not. But either way, if you're like on that tier, when you're playing with like just regular people and like, I don't know. It's crazy, man. Being that good.
What's the Brian Scalabrine quote where he said that he's closer to LeBron James than anyone, and that he like any of the amateur people are to him?
100%.
But it's true though. It's true. I remember like being at a game and just like watching. I think it was even Shaq. Like I went to like a Pistons game where maybe they were playing the Heat or something. I don't know. But like Shaq was just like shooting threes and fucking nailing them, like just like hanging out shooting. Like it's like everybody in the league is a fucking baller. Like they can just drain shots. But it's like obviously when you got somebody in your face and contesting you, it's a different story. But like these guys can, you know, it's crazy how good they are.
Yeah, like every like training camp video, which is of like a player who's bad at shooting in game, but just like draining every single shot unguarded. It's like,
like if you saw them just shooting hoops on the playground, you'd be like, you'd be blown away.
Yeah.
Yes.
They can never miss.
Yeah.
It's just that they're going up against the other greatest athletes in the sport. Like,
right.
They happen to be an average height of at least like 6'7".
Oh my
Right.
God.
Right.
Woof.
You look short if you're 6'4" in the NBA.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Oh, like
Yep.
Chris
Crazy.
Paul looks like a shrimp.
I know, yeah. I used to think that about Chauncey Billups, and then I like saw him in person. I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
he's huge.
Yep.
And he looks like the shortest person on earth when he's playing basketball.
Yep.
Anthony Davis once came into the Potbelly that I worked at downtown.
Nice.
And like I looked like a child next to him. Like it was like, oh, look at this middle schooler next to like this adult.
Yeah, it's like a novelty photo almost. It feels.
What did AD get from Potbelly?
I was working in the back of a house, so I just came out for a photo. I don't.
Nice.
But it was adorable. It was like it might have been his first year. God,
Pelicans AD.
he definitely was on the Pelicans, but like I don't remember. Like I think it must have been like a USA game. Where would the USA be playing in Chicago?
Oh, I think they did do some. Didn't they do some of those games?
Was it like
at the United Center?
thing? Maybe it was because we didn't have the Olympics. Maybe it was a qualifier game.
I was just gonna say maybe some of the qualifiers. I do.
Could have
I have a vague recollection of that.
I was
for
working
whatever
at the
reason.
one in. So, I mean, I was always in boss fight by the time that I was living in the city, so that doesn't really narrow it down. But it was like probably like 2013, 2014.
That had to be like rookie AD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he looked like, compared to now, like, he bulked up so much.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he was just like a twig, like a tree, but like,
Yeah.
compared to normal humans, but he was so skinny back then.
He's going to get
Yeah.
extra rest this offseason.
He better.
Well, he's going to because the
I
Lakers
know.
aren't going to make the
Lakers
playoffs.
Yeah.
Not
Are
even
they
gonna
for
make the-
sure not? For sure not
I mean,
making
not
it, or are
for
they,
sure, but
I
they're
saw
out
they were
of the
like right on the
play-in.
cusp. Yeah.
There's,
and
yeah,
there's
the
not that
play-in
many
extends
games
it
left.
to like a wild card down to 10, and they are like a game behind, or
Yep.
like maybe a game ahead, because I think
No, they're
maybe
out currently.
They are currently out.
Yeah, they're
nice.
11th right now.
It's a tight race. I saw they were showing
It's
on like it's crazy. Like they were like all these teams are like within like a game of first place. It's nuts.
like it's
There's like
insane.
4 or 5
like
teams.
except for
the
Suns. Like it's basically no Western team has like clinched a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They've all clinched a play-in spot, kind of. But
Yeah.
like, oh my god, like, oh, I really want the Timberwolves to make it. I'd be so bummed if they miss it this year.
That would be good experience for them. I don't think they'd make that big of a run necessarily, but that would be good experience for them.
Who do they have on their team? Because KG is like owner or something, right?
No, he wanted to be.
He wanted to be. It was
Oh.
whole thing. It's what's his face?
They didn't let him.
A-Rod.
Yeah.
A-Rod?
Yes, we
Yeah.
had
Alex Rodriguez?
Yeah.
We had this is either an opening or an ending to a Pursuing Pixels episode where we talked
Yeah.
about how one of the players didn't know, or like pretend. Maybe,
Oh, yeah.
maybe he was pretending. Who maybe he legitimately didn't know who Alex
I bet he
Rodriguez
legitimately
was,
didn't know.
which is
It is,
insane
yeah.
because he played baseball.
Yeah.
Like
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
That's wild. Just
yeah.
another generation playing sports right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Anthony Edwards. Yes,
Yep.
that's his. Is the young rook? He's not a rook. He's a sophomore.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is his second year. And Carl Anthony
Towns. He's really come into it. He's been good this year.
Man, I
Yeah.
love Carl Anthony Towns. Like
He's real good.
one of my favorite. Like him. Like there are like the players who suffer on bad teams.
Yeah.
Like good players who suffer on bad teams. I have a soft spot for.
Yep.
Like
Oh, yeah.
Boogie Cousins.
Yep.
Like, oh my God, I loved him more than anything. Like for
Sacramento.
all the years he played on the worst,
Yeah.
like god awful teams.
Pelicans, Sacramento.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hopefully this. I think it's Suns Bucks. We really could see a rematch. Like very
I would
easily could
love-
see a
I
finals
would-
rematch.
Love
could be cool.
for there
That'd
to
be
a
awesome.
rematch. I mean, also like I'm so excited about this offseason period because I think this is one of the most competitive. Like, the Nets are going to be in the play-in tournament and going to be like a title contender. Like, that's
easily a title contender.
Like,
yes,
unbelievable.
but
Like,
how many teams are in the play-in?
There's four teams that'll play the play-in, but like for the Nets, for instance, even though they changed the laws in New York, they could end up facing the Raptors in Toronto.
I saw that.
Kyrie still can't play.
Yeah,
I saw that.
I want it so bad. I want the Nets to get knocked out. I'm so pissed. I'm so sick of Kyrie shit. Like,
I know.
Oh my God.
They might. I mean, they could very easily lose that game because Toronto's got a whole bunch of just long ass tall dudes that could match up against KD. I mean, nobody matches up against KD really,
but like they can
body
maybe outlast
swarm him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm
Crazy.
so excited. So, oh God, it's gonna be such a good postseason. The Bulls are gonna be awful. I'm so mad.
That kind of sucks that they've fallen off like that because they were
know.
such a good story most of the season.
It was a great beginning of the season, and I had friends like who like I used to watch back in college with who were texting me again. It's like, oh my God, we're back in it, and I'm like, I don't want to have hope. I can't have hope again, guys. We can't do this. I'm just gonna get my heart broken, and then everybody got injured. And
if Lonzo and Caruso wouldn't have got injured, I think they could have kept up a version of that.
Like,
They really could have.
If all of the defense hadn't gotten injured at the same time, and then they just had like a spiral of like months on end.
Turns out Vooch isn't much for the defensive side of the ball.
Man, we got to start talking about video games at some point, but man,
I love it.
I was so high on Vucevic when we first traded for him.
Yeah.
Like,
he's dope on the Magic. I mean, he still has had dope moments on the Bulls.
Like, part of me is like, was he just the best player on the Magic?
On the bad
and was
team.
that the like rose-colored glasses where it's like, wow, look at how good this guy is. Maybe we should move him to a competitive team.
Yep.
And then he moves to a competitive team and I was like, was he really that good? Or
did he just soak up
guy
possessions for a bad team? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like we wouldn't have gotten DeMar DeRozan if we didn't get Vooch. So
yep.
I'm just ecstatic that DeMar DeRozan has gotten like his respect season after getting dumped for a championship. Like, yes, that was absolutely the right move for the Raptors to move off him and win a championship in the same year.
Yes.
But like, I felt so bad because I loved him. I loved watching him play. Like, so I'm just glad that he's become a Chicago darling and that
DeMar is nice, man. That dude's got skills.
That mid-range game.
Yeah. He kills it.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Him and Chris Paul, probably and KD, some of the best mid-range shooters in the game pretty easily.
Man. I also
Booker too.
I kind of want the Suns to win.
Me too.
Like I
like their jerseys. Those new jerseys they're rocking are sweet.
They do have some good jerseys.
Yeah.
I like the court too.
I just want Chris Paul to win.
Has he never won one?
Nope.
No.
He deserves one for sure.
No, those Clippers teams
so
never
good for so long.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, he was on so many teams that like it was almost like he was on. Did the Clippers ever win one or no?
No.
Not.
I don't even know. Did they even make the Western
close.
Conference Finals?
I don't think
they did.
Maybe once, and they lost like. I think that was the Doc Rivers blowing 3-1 leads like in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing.
Yeah. But they had that was when they had like Baron Davis and Blake Griffin and
DeAndre
Prime
Jordan,
Blake.
like Lob City. Just
and like real DeAndre Jordan before he was washed. Yeah.
I mean, I'm always hesitant about like. That's why I'm like nervous about Giannis. I'm just like. Ugh. I don't want to see the knees go. I want this big man to be healthy forever because at some point the athleticism just goes and it goes quick, as we can see with Russell Westbrook.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and even totally different type of player too. But even I still get sad about Yao Ming and how his career just kind of got cut short. I always loved him, man.
Yes, he was fucking amazing.
Talk about somebody who could fucking shoot a three.
Yes.
One of the best big men to ever play the game.
Yes.
If he could have just if you could just tell he was so fragile, you could just see it.
I was
Just the way
listening
he
to a
moved around.
podcast, a Knuckleheads podcast with Tracy McGrady, and he was talking about those few years with Yao Ming and the Rockets, and man, we were close. We could have put something together there.
It's all timing.
If Yao Ming got to play a full career, man, holy shit, that guy would have been fucking. He would have been amazing. I mean, he was amazing regardless.
Basically unstoppable.
Yeah.
Same with even current medical technology. How Kevin Durant had an ACL injury.
I know.
And he's playing like he's never had any issues.
No, he's just as good as he ever was, if not better.
That's unbelievable.
It's insane.
Oh my God.
I mean, Giannis's leg went backwards and he still won the championship.
God, I forgot about that.
I hate seeing that. I hate seeing that stuff. Somebody got injured in
ostrich.
That. Didn't somebody get injured in that UConn NC State game as well?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't catch that. I just saw the highlights, so I didn't see that.
Somebody definitely got hurt where they fell on their left wrist and their arm just snapped. It wasn't terrible, but you could tell it just snapped in the opposite direction. Just your arm's not supposed to bend that way.
I also saw Gordon Hayward's ankle injury live, on the first game when he was on the Celtics, I think. And is basically his foot did a full turned upside down, and it was the most disgusting. Injury.
You guys remember that?
Our buddies.
You guys remember that Willis McGahee?
No.
Hit in college. It was in the college championship game when it was Ohio State and Miami, and he got it pretty much. And you know what? No, he came back and played in the NFL. But I remember thinking his career's over, dude. His knee, he got tackled, cut out at the legs, and his knee just straight up bent. At least.
I looked it up. Why did I look it up? Why did I do this?
At least 45 degrees in the opposite direction, beyond straight.
Like a goddamn action figure.
Close this tab without looking at it.
The way it looked, it was it almost looked like a horse galloping, the way their legs extend forward. I was oh man, that's a tough one to watch.
It's the way that your leg would turn if you were running, but instead of going back behind you, it goes to your side.
Oh, it's your brain can't even compete. It's you're just that's not real. No, that's not real.
That's not how a body works. That's not.
Yeah. Can you imagine how much pain? You got to be in so much shock that you can't even really feel it.
Your body shuts down at that point.
Yeah.
You're not.
Especially when you're in the middle of playing a football game for the national championship. You got to have so much adrenaline. Hopefully he didn't really fucking feel that much.
Yeah.
Not for a little while.
Oof,
man. That was the longest sports talk that we've I think done.
Look what happens when I catch 2 basketball games. I'm oh yeah, I can chime in.
It's fun.
Hey, it's good. March Madness is quite good.
I miss it, man. It definitely has me missing it.
Honestly, Kevin, if you get enough into basketball, this is kind of a great time to get into the NBA too, because the playoffs are literally 5-6 games away from starting.
Yeah. Can you stream the playoff games online? Do they show them online, or do you have to have Peacock or weird things like that?
I was able to watch some games on NBA. So this was back in the bubble.
Yeah.
And they were putting it on NBA TV.
Pushing everything, yeah.
But they were putting it. So the weird thing, especially the weird thing with the bubble, is that they weren't putting the broadcast camera angles. They would put it on how we're looking at Skype now with the windows. They would show all the alternative camera angles simultaneously.
Oh, weird.
And backboard cams and stuff.
Ruled.
Yeah.
It was
that sounds kind of cool.
The camera right above the rim.
Yep.
So you could see really, and also because it was the bubble, there was no crowd sounds. So you were literally hearing just players chirp at each other, and it rules
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Honestly, some of the best basketball I've ever watched. But like
That does sound awesome.
there's like NBA TV is some like weird blackout shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what like certain games, if they're on like major channels, like they won't broadcast them, or they'll only broadcast like the away portion.
I know there's weird like local agreements and
Yes.
stuff like that. So
We
I'll see
cannot
if-
watch Bulls games.
I still have